Hello and welcome to PlayStation Access. My name's Rob. Joining us today is Rosie.
Hello, everyone.
Rosie, the turns have tabled.
The turns have tabled.
You've
drama.
been talking to me about Like a Dragon, and now I'm going to be talking to you about Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yes, I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about this.
Which I have played. I've played a good chunk of it. I played the prologue, which lasts around an hour or so.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be going into too much detail about the prologue because it's quite dramatic and I don't want to spoil anything. But once I'd finished the prologue, I was sort of like let loose into a region of the open world called Harima.
Mm-hmm.
A bit later on in the game, my characters were around level 25, so I got a little bit of a flavour of what the open world exploration in Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to be like, as well as a chance to play as both of the two new assassins in the game. So there's Naoe, who is sort of like got your traditional assassin moveset. She's quite small, quick and stealthy. She can squeeze through small gaps. She can grapple up onto rooftops. Like, the grapple is amazing in the game. You can stand underneath any structure and just press L1, and Naoe very quickly just scrabbles up any like overhanging roofs. You can just grapple onto them. If there's a tree between two rooftops, typically you can use the grapple to swing between, and of course you can do like an aerial assassination on people down below whilst you're swinging. It's very satisfying, very sort of, it's a really intriguing mix, this, I think, between the original Assassin's Creed games, which were all about sneaking around cities, assassinating people, and the more sort of modern branch of Assassin's Creed game like Origins and Odyssey and Valhalla, which very much feel like open world action role-playing games. It feels like they've sort of struck a really good balance here, because I thought the combat it's got like a real sort of solidity and a precision to it that I haven't felt in Assassin's Creed since those early Assassin's Creed games. And in fact, the combat was way more precise than even that, because I do remember one of the sort of like, it's almost like a meme back in the original Assassin's Creed days. If you were good with the counter button, you could basically just stand still and press counter whenever anyone attacked you and just wipe out whole squads of enemies with no problem whatsoever. I got my ass kicked quite a few times playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like, you have to be good at the combat. There's like, you know, as you would expect, like a dodge and a parry system, and you can dodge sort of unblockable attacks, which will be highlighted in red, and you can block and perfectly parry sort of lighter enemy attacks, which will be highlighted in blue. So getting used to that system is key to being good at the combat. But the other character, of course, is Yasuke, who's a more powerful sort of head-on fighter. So sort of like less what you would expect from a traditional Assassin's Creed protagonist. He's more like a samurai who fights honourably. He will look you in the eye when he kills you. And the game lets you just swap between both of these characters pretty much at any time.
Oh, brilliant.
To the extent where I was like clearing out, like, I guess you would call it an outpost, like an area, a fortified area with a bunch of enemies in it, and I went in as Naoe, sneaking around, you know, going on rooftops, assassinating people, then quickly darting back up onto the roof. And I had trouble with this like elite guard in the middle. I thought, right, it's time to get Yasuke in here then. So I just went into the menu, you hold down square, and you just switch to Yasuke, and I just went storming in through the front gate and had a big old sword fight with this guy that was giving me grief. I thought I was definitely going to like playing as Naoe better, because I enjoy stealth. I love an aerial assassination so much. It's so good sneaking around and just an enemy. I love that little moment when the enemy's got absolutely no idea what's about to happen to him.
I love that last glimmer of their life.
They're just there, going about their day. And then all of a sudden, they're dead. But I just love I love sowing fear and confusion into the enemies like that, and you very much can do that. There are some new things as well. Like you can hide in the shadows and use the lighting to your advantage, which is really cool and sort of reminded me a little bit of Splinter Cell. Don't know if you ever played Splinter Cell back in the day.
I haven't, but I've heard of this mechanic.
So it's just, it's exciting. If you're going into an area at night and there's like a dynamic day-night cycle, so as a strategic move, you could choose to do a mission when it's darker and use the shadows to your advantage.
Ooh.
Maybe that's why it's called Assassin's Creed Shadows.
And
I did really enjoy doing that, but I have to say that playing as Yasuke was also just a lot of very satisfying fun. The finishing moves when you're Yasuke are so brutal and good. Like, especially if you're fighting someone who's giving you trouble. Like, I did die a couple of times, and there was this guy like, I really hate this guy. When I finally beat him,
in he comes.
When I finally beat him, Yasuke did this amazing sort of like beheading finisher, and I was like, yes, that guy deserved that. And you can still do like a sneaky stealthy kill as Yasuke, but instead of just saying assassinate, it says brutal assassination.
Yeah.
Instead of using a hidden blade, he'll just get his samurai sword and just go straight through the torso. I found great delight in just experimenting with the various visceral finishing moves that Yasuke is capable of. So just, in the 2 or 3 hours that I got with the game, I felt like I was getting a good enough flavour of the combat to know that it feels, probably, when I think about it, unlike any Assassin's Creed game I've played before. But I would say in terms of the combat, closer to like the original Ezio trilogy and Assassin's Creed 1 with Altair than it does to something like Valhalla, which was very much, that game was very much about exploring as a Viking and just running in there quickly, and it's shield and axe combat, and it's this has it's a much more slow, deliberate pace to it.
Would you say that like the assassin character is more like the original Assassin's Creed style games, and then the samurai angle's more like the more modern Assassin's Creed games that we've had recently, like Valhalla, for example? No,
I wouldn't say that. I'd say Yasuke feels unlike any Assassin's Creed protagonist that I've played as.
Oh, brilliant.
Before. Like his combat feels really like a samurai. Like the moves everything's quite slow and tense until you do a move, and then everything's sort of like over instantly. Whereas as Naoe feels more like you would expect from an Assassin's Creed protagonist, like sneaking around on rooftops and things. And Yasuke still can sort of like climb up things, but he's not as quick and nimble and quiet and stealthy as Naoe is. And
he doesn't want to be. He has honor.
Yeah.
The samurai honor.
But I did find it interesting that it's not like you're going to encounter, well, you may later on in the game, I guess, but the areas that I were in, you could definitely have done them as either Yasuke or Naoe. Like, you didn't have to pick one or the other. So choosing which character is just like, it's almost like a playstyle preference, really. There are role-playing elements in that you can have dialogue choices when you're talking to characters and doing quests and whatnot. Interestingly, when I started the game, I was given the option of, did I want to play it in canon mode, which takes away your ability to influence the outcome of the story, or play in such a way where I could effectively change the story.
Oh, is that from your choices?
Yes. So it looks like there is like a way where you can just be told the story of Assassin's Creed Shadows, or it would imply that there is a way of playing the game where your choices can actually affect the outcome of the story, which is really quite an interesting thing, and very interesting that you're given the choice when you start a new game as well. And I just before we wrap up, I want to talk a little bit about the open world as well. I think the one thing that Assassin's Creed has always done brilliantly is created these incredibly rich, detailed environments for you to explore, whether that's Renaissance Italy or ancient Egypt or mythological Greece or England in the 10th century when the Vikings are invading. There's like a sense of place in Assassin's Creed that I think is unrivaled. I think this series is so good at doing that, and it's no different in Assassin's Creed Shadows. So we're in feudal Japan, which has been like a wish from the Assassin's Creed community for what feels like forever.
Yeah.
Everyone's always wanted, please, Assassin's Creed, go to feudal Japan. And now we're finally here. And it's honestly, like, it's been a while since I played a game and had that sort of like, oh, stop and stare moment. But there were so many moments like that during my hands-on with it. There was a moment where the sunrise came over like this bay, and I just had to stop for like 5 minutes and just wait for the sun to come up behind these trees.
Oh.
The water, oh my god, the water. Ubisoft's always been really good at doing water. The water graphics in this are great. You can swim, you can dive under the water.
We need an updated water graphics list at this point.
We do. And I tell you now, Assassin's Creed Shadows is very likely going to make that list. But it's just, I absolutely love, just as usual with these games, walking around very slowly, listening to just the birds, listening to the clip-clop of my horse's hooves.
Just the world just doing its thing.
Exactly. And it feels like, feudal Japan is made for that kind of quiet contemplation, I feel. There's a real sort of like beauty to the stillness of it. Until you get like those little flashes and explosions of action. But I am incredibly excited for this. I was excited when I saw it. I saw like a reveal of it last year at Summer Game Fest, and I was immediately like, oh, this looks like an Assassin's Creed I could be getting on board with. And having played it now, I am convinced. I am convinced that this is going to be a real stunner of a game. It's coming to PS5 on the 20th of March. Not too long to wait now. So please do let us know in the comments what you make of Assassin's Creed Shadows. You've been watching some gameplay lovingly captured by me, so please feel free to tell me how good I've been at the combat.
I love that.
Only nice comments, please. I'll have only put the bits in where I'm good at it. And we will see you again very soon. I'm sure we'll have more content on Assassin's Creed Shadows as we near release. So thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again soon.
PlayStation